Hi everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. This is going to be my latest video. It's going to involve some demolition on some of the ACT maybe. I'm going to explain to you here what I'm going to do. I've gotten the itch to change the track plan. I get tired of watching the trains just make a loop, come back, make a loop, come back, make a loop, come back. And I had actually contemplated making a helix on either side of the doorway and going up 30 inches and up over the doorway and back down. Aside from being incredibly expensive, it eats up a lot of real estate inside my skinny room. So I decided against that. So my alternative plan was to go with a staging yard under the layout and hopefully get down under the layout, go down to one end of the layout down here before I get to this ledge that sticks out into the garage, and just make a loop and come back and then put a staging yard right down here below my control panel. So I got down here and studied it the other day, and the next thing you know, I was removing lumber and stuff from underneath the layout. It hasn't changed the topography of any of the top of the layout yet, but and probably won't, with the exception of one little loop of track. Let me show you what I'm doing is plan-wise, and then we'll go underneath the layout and take a look under there.
Okay, this is kind of the idea here. My existing track from that comes along the back wall and comes around and over the bridge, and the mountain is here, will come on around like this, goes into a tunnel portal over here, and actually just I'm going to disconnect the piece that comes around and comes out over here and actually put a helix in. This helix will go down like this, and I'm not sure how many turns yet, and then it will come out and go underneath all of the surface of the layout and go down to whatever level the staging will be at, which I'm assuming will be, from the homosote down, it's going to have to be probably about 8 inches or 9 inches. So this will have to go down far enough to get down about 9 inches underneath the layout. The outside track, which comes through the yard where the crossing gates and everything are, comes over here. The used car lot is in here. It goes around, goes into the mountain, comes down this side, and right about here I will start going downhill, and it'll just continue downhill until it goes under. Well, it won't have any trouble getting under this because this is already 2 inches above the homosote. So it'll go at least 2 inches below the homosote at this point, and it'll actually go over this track because this, like I said, this track will be down 8 or so inches. It'll probably go 4 or 5 inches above the blue track here, but still be under the existing homosote. This will go around the back and wind up just continuing on downhill until it gets to whatever level the staging yards is at. These two tracks, this track and this track, will go down to the opposite end of the layout, and there'll be a loop down there, and then there'll be a yard along the front edge below my control panel. And that's kind of the game plan.
Okay, everybody, one of the things that I'm going to be facing here is my L-girder construction under here. There's going to be places where I'm going to need to pass through that, and I'm not sure whether to make holes or cut it out and make a support, a U-support underneath it, or exactly what I'm going to do, but I'll take you under here and we'll take a look, and maybe I'll try and explain some of it.
Okay, here we are under the mountain. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any of this, but it doesn't look like it. But this track that you see right here is the inner loop that we looked at, and it already is double track, and it already is the same radius I intend on making the Helix. So really what I need to do is like pick it up right over in here somewhere, and then just start the Helix here remove a lot of this wood right here, cut some of this wood back, and then just really place the helix right in this area right here. And the helix will just go down and down until it comes out over here somewhere and then cuts across. It'll cut across this way, right into my light, back into that corner over there, and then that, well, actually right in here somewhere, and it'll have to go under or through a portion of this bench work right here and then down to the staging yard. Now, the other track, and it's probably better if I do this from underneath, the outside track that you saw in that diagram, actually the straight section starts right about here. So if I take these stringers right here and take them out and start cutting them off, which they're just tacked in here to the homosote, so I can unscrew the screw, bend them out of there, and take them out, and then put them, cut them off and put them right back in. But if I start downgrading those, or lowering that here and then there, and just start working my way down with that track, I should be able to come out over here somewhere. But I'm gonna this is the problem I'm having. I'm gonna have to come through this or over this or something, or in between here, where I've got this wire coiled up for the TV. But anyways, I'm not sure whether to come out up here, which I may be able to come out up here on the top. And then as I come across this is kind of like a submarine shot, but anyway, as I come across here and back towards that corner back there, it'll be making a curve. That track will go just in the direction of my finger here and start making a curve and go around to that back wall. And hopefully then I'll have to cut a hole in each one of these stringers, or cut a notch in these stringers to get below the stringers. Once I get below the stringers, I'm good to go. Let me try and turn around here. Of course, I got all kinds of junk under here. But anyways, then I'm good to go all the way down there. I can go all the way down to that far end. You can't even, it's probably really black in the video. But I can go all the way down that far end and make a U-turn and come back. And then where you see the tortoise machine here and the the L girder bench work, the yard will be just lower than that bench work right there. So that's the intended plan. Is the track that goes from down the back will follow the back all the way down, make a loop, and then come back in the center of the yard, which you should be either just to the left of or just under that L girder there. Well, I hope that made some kind of sense. It makes sense to me up here. It's going to be kind of difficult to get underneath there, obviously, and put the helix in, and making the helix and figuring out how far down I need to go. I plan on using, and I'm sure I'll take a lot of flack for this, and oh, it's too steep, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. Well, I don't run more than about 10 or 11 cars at a time in here, so it doesn't bother me too much, and I'll act just like the real railroads. If I can't make it up the grade, I'll put another locomotive on the train. So, anyways, I'm going to use Kato Unitrack in the 11 and 12 3/4 inch radius for the helix. That gives me about 6 feet per radius, and at a 1/4 inch every 9 inches, it's probably about I'm guessing about a 2.5% grade, something like that. And gives me about 3/8 of an inch shy of a full 2 inch clearance between. And I've measured a couple of my double stack cars, and they should just barely fit in between. I don't run them that often in here. I run them out at the club, but I'm thinking that I would be able to get away with that. The radius that's in there right now that the trains have been going around up about a 1.5% grade is 11, and the 12 and whatever it is, 3/4. And I've never had any trouble inside there. I realize that once you get a whole train on a helix, it makes the pull a little harder, but if I do this, it's just going to have to be something I'm going to live with, because I'm just getting bored of it going around in a circle, and I want more running length. And this is something that should be thought about, by the way, on a layout long before you finish the layout or get close to finishing the layout. I wish I had done it prior, but I haven't, so now I've got to deal with crawling around on my hands and knees and trying to put things up from the bottom. It's not going to be too bad. I may have to remove some of the fascia here, which will go right back on easy enough. Disconnect a lot of wiring and things that are in the way, but oh heck, it'll give me something to do over the winter. Anyways, that's the game plan, and I think for today that's a wrap, and we'll just call it a day. Well guys, that's it for today. As you can see, I'll be plenty busy removing all the stuff from underneath the layout and putting it in the garage, and got to go get some MDF board and lay the Unitrack on it and start cutting some radiuses for the Helix, see how many pieces I might need, and we'll go from there. Once I disconnect the track down there, there won't be any running out here except back and forth. There won't be any continuous running on the layout at that point until I get the Helix in and get all this track down and back. So that's going to be quite a feat. By the way, the yard will hang from that L girder that you saw hanging down. I will run some 1x down from that, or maybe even 2x2s. The yard will split around that, or some tracks in the yard will split around those, but the actual yard will be suspended from up above, nothing underneath. The track that goes along the back, I may use shelf brackets on that as I go down. The curve at the end will probably be relatively tight. It'll probably be a 12, but of course it won't be on any kind of incline, so that should be no problem at all. So, pardon me. So that's it for today, guys, and I look forward to bringing you some more updates and doing some more videos and kind of get back into the physical building of the thing and see if this harebrained plan is going to work. I appreciate you guys watching all the time, and a shout out to Vinny and a guy, Heavy Chevy, has nothing to do with railroad, but he's a real good guy on YouTube. I've never shouted out to any of those guys, but BNSF, can't think of his numbers, but Steve is his name. There's a lot of guys out there that are really good to follow, and got a lot of good tips and real interesting to watch, and I just happen to be one of them, I guess, and I'm glad you guys show up to do so. We'll talk to you later, and this is Mike from Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. Thank you, guys.